Should you have watched Quentin Tarantino's renowned film, Pulp Fiction, you'd recognize the introductory scene where Samuel Jackson expresses astonishment at the permissibility of marijuana use in Holland and the peculiar French habit of pairing fries with mayonnaise. Samuel Jackson's distaste for such a topping is evident with a disgusted, Interestingly, this sentiment is mutual, as Europeans often find American culinary preferences, habits, beliefs, and expressions equally bizarre. In this installment of the Infographics world, titled, American Things Europeans Find Weird, we delve into these peculiarities. Remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell to join our notification squad. For now, let's focus on gastronomy and dining customs. Previous episodes have highlighted the global variance in attitudes towards tipping. Indeed, in certain European regions, leaving a tip after a simple beer can be perceived as offensive. In these parts of Europe, tipping is sometimes viewed as a form of charity. Tourists from Europe might be puzzled by the frequent table visits by servers in the US. While Americans consider it exemplary service, some Europeans might interpret it as an interruption to an enjoyable dining experience. Moreover, the portion sizes in America could seem nearly triple what Europeans are accustomed to. To many Europeans, American serving sizes appear fit for two. The practice of free refills on beverages like soda or coffee might also be seen as overly generous. Regarding culinary combinations, as previously mentioned, the American and European palates diverge significantly. A European traveler might exclaim in disbelief, "Pancakes with fried chicken for breakfast? Really?" Or, "Honey on bacon for breakfast?" A French individual expecting traditional mustard with their beef might encounter a variant that's unexpectedly sweet and mild. An Italian visiting Chicago might order a pizza and receive something resembling more of a deep dish pie or a savory cake. Turning to shopping experiences, Europeans might find the ubiquitous smiles and cordiality of American store staff peculiar, especially compared to the more reserved service in England, where a smile is not always a given. Such overt American amiability might even arouse suspicion among Europeans. A European purchasing tobacco or alcohol might be taken aback by being carded, a practice they might not have encountered for many years. While Europe generally has more relaxed age-related regulations and less emphasis on ID checks, the situation is quite different in the US. Liam Gallagher of Oasis fame voiced his incredulity on social media after being asked for ID to buy cigarettes at the age of 44, remarking on the absurdity of the situation. Back in Manchester, he likely purchased cigarettes for decades without ever being asked for identification. And then, upon examining their wallet, a European might be confounded by the uniform appearance of American currency, wondering about the logic behind such design. In the United States, the convenience of paying with credit cards is widespread, a practice that may still be unfamiliar to many from Europe. They might also experience the unexpected addition of sales tax to the displayed price at the time of purchase, which can be a source of dismay. Attempting to navigate back to their accommodation, they seek directions and are advised to proceed for 6 blocks and then make a left turn. However, for Europeans unaccustomed to the American way of navigation, the concept of blocks as a measure of distance may seem odd. Many European cities evolved organically rather than on a grid, making them challenging to navigate due to the lack of a block structure. Upon returning, they might settle in to watch television, only to find the programming frequently interrupted by lengthy commercial breaks, which can be a source of frustration for some European viewers. During their viewing, they may stumble upon World Wrestling entertainment and find themselves perplexed by the fervor of American fans for what appears to them as a predetermined performance. The enjoyment of such theatrical sports may seem to be an American predilection. Flipping to a news channel, the presentation may come across as overly dramatic or even satirical to a European observer, depending on the network. However, one aspect of American life that some Europeans might appreciate is the availability of services and shopping around the clock. When insomnia strikes, the option to venture out is always there. In contrast, shopping hours in many parts of Europe are more limited, but in the US, especially near large urban areas, there's often something open for late-night activities or purchases. Turning to the topics of religion and national pride, World Atlas puts America at the top of the list as the most Christian nation in the world, with frequent references to God in public spaces and signage. While Christianity is also prevalent in Europe, The public display of religious symbols and language can seem excessive to those from countries where church attendance has declined. Similarly, the ubiquitous presence of the American flag is a stark contrast to Europe, where national flags are typically reserved for official buildings. A flag displayed in a residential garden might lead a European visitor to assume the homeowner is an ardent nationalist, rather than simply expressing national pride. As an interesting note, a survey from 2014 identified Thailand as the most patriotic country globally, with the United States ranking close behind. To Europeans, the prevalence of firearms among civilians in the United States may come across as alarming. The US leads globally in the ratio of gun ownership. In contrast to Europe, where law enforcement officers are typically armed, it's a rare sight to witness an armed officer in the UK. The notion of ordinary citizens possessing guns can appear quite bizarre to Europeans. However, this might not be as surprising to Serbians, known for their high gun ownership rates. When Europeans travel to the US, the sheer scale of things is noticeable. The American landscape is characterized by its grandiosity, extending beyond just the size of food portions. The expansive nature of American roads and avenues is evident, and without personal transport, navigating cities like Los Angeles can be challenging. Vehicles in the US are noticeably large enough to crush Mr. Bean in his Mini, and the average American tends to be more robust in build. American skyscrapers reach greater heights, and on average, U.S. homes offer more living space than their European counterparts. According to a survey, Danes enjoy the most spacious homes in Europe, yet they pale in comparison to American living spaces, which can make British homes seem as small as an American basement. While it may not strike one as odd, questions arise as to why the U.S. is synonymous with size. The sight of Americans regularly dressed in athletic attire, despite not heading to the gym, may puzzle some Europeans. Fashion trends such as voluminous hairstyles, reminiscent of the 80s, persist among some older American women. Exaggerated features like oversized lips and breasts might seem peculiar to Europeans, while the U.S. president's penchant for a tanned appearance continues. On a brighter note, the impeccable dental aesthetics of Americans stand in stark contrast to the British, humorously portrayed in The Simpsons, through The Big Book of British Smiles, highlighting the perceived dental care gap. So, to the Europeans reading this, what American peculiarities strike you as odd? And to the Americans, what European traits do you find unusual? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.